This is how a cochlear implant works. The sounds are picked up by the microphone. The signal is then coded or turned into special patterns of electrical pulses. These pulses are sent to the coil and are then transmitted across the skin to the implant. The implant sends a pattern of electrical pulses to the electrodes in the cochlea. The auditory nerve picks up these electrical pulses and sends them to the brain. The brain recognizes these signals as sound.
There is certain criterion that needs to be met for a child to be considered for cochlear implant candidacy. The child must have a severe to profound bilateral sensorineural hearing loss. The child must be 12 to 18 months of age. However, some children may be implanted earlier depending on the circumstance. The child must receive little or no benefit from the use of hearing aids. There is no medical or radiological contraindications to surgery. The child will be, or is, placed in an educational setting that is able and willing to provide a concentrated auditory skill development program. There also must be a motivated family and the consent of the child if appropriate.
When making a decision about cochlear implantation, it can sometimes be beneficial for a parent to hear from children who have already been implanted with the device. Meet Kyle and Howard, 11-year-old boys who attend the Western Pennsylvania School for the Deaf, in addition to attending a mainstream school for certain classes.
Howard, how old were you when you got your first cochlear implant?
2 or 3.
2 or 3? And when did you get your second one?
Around 10.
So just like maybe a year ago or so? And who decided to get the second one? Was it you, your doctor, your parents?
Who wanted the second implant?
I want
You wanted it? Why did you want your second implant?
so I can copy my friend also.
So you could be like your friend? Does it help you hear better?
Yeah.
You like it better than your hearing aid?
What's better about the cochlear implant?
You can talk to friends, play with them, be friends.
Is there anything you don't like about your cochlear implant?
Surgery.
The surgery? Were you scared? Yeah.
What about the surgery was scary for you? What didn't you like?
The people they have there was something inside me.
When our family's all deaf, and they say, "Why do you have a cochlear implant?" What do you say to those students?
Can you say that again, loud?
They can talk to friends.
Do you say, "It's fine, I like my cochlear implant"?
Yeah.
Say-
Yeah.
Is it ever hard with the students here who are deaf, from a deaf family? They do not understand why?
People will have sick and they're deaf. If no sick, you'd be born no deaf.
What do you guys want to be when you grow up? What do you want to do?
Become a professor.
Want to become a what?
Professor.
Okay. Kyle, what do you want to be when you grow up?
A hunter.
You want to be a hunter?
Play game or outside.
And what video games do you like to play?
Call of Duty.
Do you play it with your friends? Or do you play by yourself?
Myself or a friend. Some.
What do you do for fun when you're not at school? What
When
do you
you're at home, what do you do? When you're not here, what do you do for fun?
Play with friends. We over. Watch TV.
they're curious about, you went to Word of God, right? And you have implants and you used an interpreter. Why did you have an interpreter and an implant both? Why? You can tell them why. Tell them why you had both.
Because the teacher might say in the paper and people will shine on us.
Did you hear that?
Can you say it again?
Okay, remember in the van when we were driving to Word of God and back? Were you soft talking in the van or were you screaming in the van? Which? You were screaming. So let's pretend that we're in the van now and talk really loud like you did in the van, okay? Tell her again, why interpreter both? Because some people think, oh, cochlear implant, good enough. Don't need an interpreter. So that was good what you said, but tell them again so they know they couldn't hear you. So why did you have an interpreter and an implant both?
Because the teacher might say something that we can understand, then the teacher will tell us with signs.
Okay. Why did you have an interpreter and the implant both? Why?
When teacher, if there's no interpreter, that means we can use FM.
Right, you use the FM also.
You can hear louder.
Right. So you use the FM system more than interpreter, right? So you would listen, but if you didn't understand, what would you do? If you didn't understand the teacher, yeah, you would look at the interpreter. Right, okay. The teacher, just to kind of add a few things, the teacher was kind of funny, very sarcastic, but, you know, hearing humor is a little bit hard to understand sometimes. And so they were a little bit confused when she'd say, am I speaking Chinese? And they were, no, she's speaking English. But what she meant was for some of the kids that they didn't understand her, and she'd say, is it because I'm speaking Chinese? Well, they heard that through their implant, their FM system, but they would look at me like, no, she's not speaking Chinese, she's speaking English. Why is she saying what? And so I would have to explain she's being sarcastic. Remember, she would tease the students sometimes? So that was a little bit hard to understand. What about when you went to the whiteboard? Which was better for you, listening with the FM or watching the interpreter? Okay, interpreter, okay. The teacher was wonderful. I mean, she used the FM system. And, you know, they would watch sometimes, but I think they depended more on the interpreter. And now, with the other interpreter, do you watch the interpreter more or do you watch the teacher more?
Interpreter.
Okay, you said teacher?
Teacher.
Okay, so you watch the teacher more and you watch the interpreter more. Okay, that's fine because you're not twins. You don't have to do the same thing, right? Remember, I told you that before. I'll tell you what my day was like last year when I worked with them.
Okay.
And because I feel like I functioned more like an educational interpreter last year, and this year I function more like a staff interpreter. So I'll give you the comparison. So last year when I worked with them, and there were some other students that went for different grade level classes, I knew what the teacher was planning on doing. I mean, she and I worked very well together. So if I knew that you guys were weak in some of the math, what did we do? Yeah, we had flashcards, so I always made sure that every day I had flashcards for them. What did we do in the van? Besides the screaming. Every day. Right. How? Right. So every day they had clipboards. They had their own clipboards, and what I noticed in areas that were weak, like if Kyle needed you were really strong in multiplication, but you were weak in multiplication, fast. So I gave, Howard had specific papers for that. So he would be doing, 8 times 7. Kyle was weak on word problems. And so I would give him, very simple kinds of word problems. So going to the van, driving there, they worked on that. Or sometimes I would say, I'd say, well, what's that? I'd be driving, I'd say, what's that? If I knew, like in speech, they were working on something. or idioms. So I'd say, what does a horse of a different color mean? Remember that idiom? That's a horse of a different color. Oh no, she's no spring chicken. Chicken.
Not chicken.
But she's no spring chicken. What does that mean, that idiom? You're supposed to remember everything you learned last year. Means she's not young. Remember we talked about that? And then we were teasing because the teacher is a little bit old. And so I said, you know, can we say she's no spring chicken? Chicken. They sign chicken here. And Howard knew that would be, if we can't say that, that would not be nice. Last year? I said, well, can you say that to her? You said, no, because it means she's not young. Okay, how about you? What idiom? There was one that was a favorite. I don't remember, but those were the kinds of things that we would do in the van, which is kind of different than just sort of this mechanical interpreter kind of thing. So I supported what the school did here in the van and in the classroom, also with their peers. I was always encouraging you to talk with the kids, right? Yeah, like if they had games or things like that. Do you remember any of the favorite kids that you had last year that you knew well? Brady, okay. And what did you like about Brady? Oh, yeah, that's right. You liked Brady. Why did you like Brady? Yeah, he was friendly. He would come up. Again, some of the kids with the implants and, you know, do I have to sign or whatever, they were a little bit more shy. But Brady would always go up and say hi. So that was nice, the social part for them. What else do you remember last year about class, or this year? Don't know? Okay. So then during the class, I would be there, and if I saw that they were hearing through the FM system and they were watching the teacher, then I just kind of waited. And then I could tell I could almost predict when there would be a time that there would be something they wouldn't understand, so then I would sign it. And also I would write out the cards for them. I think it's very important that the hearing kids saw and heard the words more often than they did. So I was always making the cards for them. So then when we got in the van to come back to school, we would practice. I would talk about the cards. They would go through them. I would explain maybe something that you were weak about. Remember tutoring time? So we would get together once a week for tutoring. And it was either extra worksheets or they would take a test. So that's how I functioned last year. What else? You know, they're in college. You will go to college later, right? You told me last year. You didn't change your mind, right?
They're really shy.
I know they're shy. I don't know. Maybe if we got in a van, let's go out in a van, and we'll drive around. That'll make you more loose.
No.
It's okay. I know you. Different. But one thing I want to tell you and tell them that we really have to emphasize is what kids learn when they're in 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, what? Forget it, throw it away, or keep it in your mind. Which? Yeah, you want to throw it away, right? What happens when you throw it away? What's happening this year? It's gone. So you have this little surface knowledge, right? You need that. So Kyle used to be very, very good with multiplication. He was fast and he became kind of slow. Howard forgot how to do some of the problems. Yeah, because we had that talk and you realize now what you're learning. Same with them. What they're learning, they can't forget. They have to remember it. Okay? So it doesn't matter whether they're implanted or not. If they didn't practice, if we didn't do all that extra math stuff. I mean, the first 2 weeks they went to Word of God, the teacher came to me and said, they're drowning. I don't think this was a good idea. And I said, oh yeah, it's a good idea. And we sat and I said, do you think hearing kids are smarter than you? And they both went, mm-hmm. And I said, no. They know what they learned last year, they need now. You have the learn and flush method. That's why I said throw it away or keep, because that is my constant preaching. So within 2 weeks of practicing all the things that those kids, and not all of the hearing kids knew either, they had the learn and flush method too. So, but it became a competition because I said, no, they're not smarter than you. They just practice more. And the next month the teacher was like, wow, they're doing well. And they had the support of their teacher here. So my opinion is mainstream, school for the deaf, Cochlear, not Cochlear. You got to invest energy in the kid. That's what it takes. All of the kids, whether they're deaf or hearing, they have to know what I learned in second and third and fourth grade. I have to remember. I mean, we have seniors that are doing worksheets in multiplication. And that's not because it's a deaf school, because I know that it's in mainstream too. I'm at a voc tech school, and the kids are counting on their fingers to do multiplication. We just have failed
Miserably.
Yeah. So I'm pro-kid, if that's politically correct.
There are many things that go into consideration when determining if a cochlear implant is the right intervention for your child. At this time, we ask you to please review the accompanying manual, complete the assessment, and for more information, please visit your audiologist or the following websites.